Hello and welcome, I'm Marumba. Thank you for joining me. This is a patch notes video for Crusader Kings 2. So there has been a major, I would call it major, probably, major patch for Crusader Kings 2. They've incremented the actual version number in a very strange way. There was a beta available for a couple of days, maybe a week and a half or so. There was version 2.1.2.1, and now somehow we've gone back to 2.1.2. So, kind of weird, but anyway, this is a fairly major patch, and there's some pretty big stuff, so we'll talk about it. There's some apparent major memory optimizations. I don't really agree. I don't think that that's going to work. Every time I see that, I just don't believe it. I mean, the game runs about the same, if not still slower, than before the Rajas of India expansion, and that's just to be expected. You know, it's a bigger game, so. Fixed a bug where allies could be called into war into certain major revolts by attackers, resulting in some erroneous vassalizations at the end of the war. Temporary titles no longer increase the multiplier for decadence gain if they are the character's highest tier title. Okay. Hunts and fairs should now be more interesting. So what they have done is they've made it so that, you remember before Rajas of India, if you went on a hunt, you could pick up the diligent trait or you could become ambitious. Well, you can't become ambitious anymore still, but you can become diligent. The event is different though. It's not just we're going hunting and let's go automatically become diligent automatically. Now it's a decision you have to make that will give you a 10% chance of becoming diligent and about a 10% chance of getting wounded, 50% chance of nothing, and then miscellaneous other events. So it just makes it so that it's still possible but no longer guaranteed, which is kind of interesting. You have to actually risk getting injured. Hunts and fairs should no longer give you bundles of events on the same day. So another big change to the way that the hunt works, for example, is that it is a 60-day hunt now. So if you fire it on September 1st, you can actually fit in a second hunt on October 31st, but you can't have them, they're not going to be like 10 to 20 days like they used to be. Tournaments will now end properly after all winners are chosen. Ha! Sure they will. How many years have we been seeing things like this in the patch notes? Tournaments never end. Just accept it. Fixed a bug where an adventurer would declare war ahead of time. Asking to join a crusade is no longer limited by distance to the religious head. That seems reasonable. I'm still waiting for a diplomatic range map mode or some information about how it's calculated. Arranged marriage no longer shows people with a different caste if you're Hindu. That's actually really nice. That's one of the main things I complained about as a Hindu. It's now possible to search for trait names and last names in Character Finder. Oh my god. So, like, I don't understand. Paradox, let me just do something for you here. We're going to go ahead and we're going to move that one up there as a major change. So if you haven't been watching my Norse campaign, this is new to you, then what you can do now in the Character Finder, instead of just typing in a name of a character in the name field, you can actually type out trait names. So if you type out genius, you can filter all available characters to only show characters that have the genius trait. You can put a space in between words, and you can do like genius strategist or genius commander, whatever it is. Brilliant commander is level 4 military guy. So you can actually filter out very, very clearly to find exactly what you're looking for. So for instance, this is most often going to be useful in the eugenics program where you are, say, a strong leader and you want to pair yourself up with a genius. So that way your kids have a good chance of picking up strong, genius, or possibly both. Then you can just filter out all the women who are not strong, and there you go. Very simple. Still waiting for some minor other additions, like I'd still like to be able to filter by age, you know, to say like, okay, I only want women who are 16 to 45, or maybe 16 to 30. Like, I want to be able to specify. This is the upper bound for age, this is the lower bound for age. That's not actually in the patch, but it's just something I'd like. Your spouse no longer likes you less if you have a different caste. Fixed a bug where decadence would incorrectly reset when resigning. Fixed a bug where you couldn't grant county titles to Hindus even if they would have their barony become the primary holding in that province. So what this was is, let's say you had a, like if it was incorrectly established, like where the town is above the castle and the bishopric, and you wanted to flip it so that the castle is on top again, you couldn't give the county to the, like let's say you owned the town and you wanted to give it to the baron to make him the county lord, you know, the count. Well, because you were technically giving him a town, it would require him to have the third caste, and you weren't able to do that because it's just complicated. But anyway, it's fixed now. Fixed a bug where you couldn't grant lower titles of the incorrect type. Fixed a bug where you could designate dead heirs. That sounds like fun. Ruler designer costs are now improved for balance. Fixed a bug where commanders could be offered marriages which they would accept. Fixed a bug where the Pope would be listed as your best candidate for your next cardinal, which is kind of strange. Fixed a bug where the Guardian would its wards far away with them. Now, I'm guessing here, but I'm fairly certain that this should say would take its wards far away with them, but I don't really know. Paradox has a tendency to not spell check their patch notes. Well, I guess actually the spelling's perfect, but grammar, a little bit off. Missing a verb. Fixed a bug where characters of special interest would be cleared upon inheritance. I am almost positive that I saw this in some of my play, where I would set special interests and then all of a sudden they'd just be gone. So I'm glad to see that that's fixed. The Robin Hood event series should no longer fire more than once per campaign. Fixed some issues with the Aztec invasion. Made the Buddhist ambitions easier to fulfill. These are the ambitions like conquer fear, overcome gluttony, or whatever they are, you know. So I guess they're simpler, or I haven't checked it. I have not actually played as a Buddhist yet. Added religion triggers for certain nicknames. Fixed a number of minor text bugs. Celibate characters should no longer be worried about their conjugal love life. Added and changed some trait-based opinion modifiers. We don't know what. We'll find out. Made Mount Athos an Orthodox holy site instead of Piraeus. Bogomlist women can now be appointed as court chaplains. Cool. Homosexual characters can now have the get married ambition once again. I'm not sure why, since I'm pretty sure they can't get married. Tweaked various factors affecting whether the AI chooses the get married ambition. Fixed a bug where the... Oh, you know what it could be is just because they're homosexual, they could still marry to make kids. You know, they could just be homosexual, but get married. Like, let's just say it's like the king of Denmark or something, and he's homosexual. I guess because he was homosexual, he would never take the get married ambition, and so he might just never get married, and then his dynasty dies out. He should still take the ambition to get married, make kids, but then go off and have, you know, fun times at the tournament with somebody. Fixed a bug with the Decadence straighten up action. Fixed a bug where some characters sacrificed to Kali would mysteriously survive. Blocked some ambitions for court gurus. I did not like how I would go and seek a court guru and then he would become the lover of my wife. That is not the intended. I think it's not what he's supposed to be doing. Fixed a bug that gave Indian provinces way too much revolt risk from certain events. Let's go ahead and just take that. We're going to put that one right up here for you guys. Paradox, thank you. So it used to be that you had a 50% revolt risk in provinces that were the wrong religion in India. It was called the religious unrest modifier. Now, that event could last for forever. Now it can only last for 2 years, and it's only 10% revolt risk. So it's more manageable, still kind of a pain. You're still playing whack-a-mole, but not nearly as bad as before. Let's see, where were we before? Fixed an issue with the timing events at Indian feasts. Fixed an error with flag clearing at the Farisa and Epic tournaments. Again, they're claiming that they fixed tournaments. Don't believe them. Fixed several event triggers that failed to correctly check a character's location. Applying history backwards was working incorrectly. If you were like in the game screen, the load, like choose your character screen, and you say went to the 1066 start and then went back to the 867 start, then it would mess up the history. And so that was broken. Now it's fixed. This is my favorite patch note right here. Just so you guys know, it's the fixed a bug where you wasn't able to reform pagan. That's right, guys. Fixed a bug where you wasn't able. It's just, you can't make this stuff up. I mean, this is just comedy gold here. So anyway, somehow it had been set up so that only the AI was allowed to reform pagan religions, and you wasn't able to, but now you was able to. Again. Fixed a bug where with the allow laws console command. Now allowed to arrange marriages regardless of diplomatic range if you have a courtier who is betrothed to someone in the target's court. So I'm imagining where this could have played a factor is like let's say that you're you have children who have claims or something, and so they leave, and then somehow them being I don't know, somehow you're still able to negotiate. Oh, you know what it could be? Now allowed to arrange marriages regardless of diplomatic range if a courtier is betrothed. So if you arrange a betrothal and then one of the characters leaves your court outside of your diplomatic range, you can still arrange the marriage once they come of age and they're ready to marry. That makes sense. The Massalian heresy now has access to absolute cognatic. Now allowed to assign a leader to a flank without one, regardless of crown authority. Once again, paradox. This is a major change as far as gameplay is concerned. I mean, being able to, like, if you don't have limited crown law, you used to just never be able to appoint commanders. You could have flanks where the character would die and then there's just no leader. And there's nothing you can do about it. Now, if they have no commander, you can put one in. You can't replace them once they're there, but you can replace a leaderless flank, which is great. Fixed a bug where you wasn't able. I love it. Okay, what's next? Fixed a bug with the Lover event 64065. Fixed a bug with the Vassal King opinion penalty being applied multiple times. I still haven't seen this in the game, so I don't know what they're talking about. I had imagined that there was going to be an opinion penalty for kings if they were underneath an emperor, but I didn't see it, so I don't know why it's being applied multiple times, or I haven't seen it at all. Fixed a bug where you couldn't arrange marriages as a child. It no longer costs any piety to banish someone if you have a valid reason. The banishment description shows the cost to banish now. Games already in progress no longer show up on the server list. So if you're playing multiplayer, you used to see a huge list of games, and they were already in progress. There is no hot join in Crusader Kings 2, so it's kind of silly, and now they'll no longer be listed. The ransom interaction is no longer distance limited. That's nice. Fixed some issues with the Samrat Chakravartin decision. It should now be much more attractive for the player. At the very end of my Hindu campaign, I complained greatly about this because all that it did then was create a... it was just a titular empire. It didn't do any... It didn't replace any of the other empires. So all it did was just give you more of a Gavelkind problem, and it gave you more people who were going to desire kingdoms and empires. So it was just a pain in the butt. Didn't do anything. Now, if I understand correctly from reading the forums, it does replace the de jure empires and form one large empire. So that makes it much more attractive, yes. Removed an exploit with Muslim schools and tech points. I did not learn of this exploit, but apparently it's gone. Fixed a bug with temporary revolt titles and certain achievements. Fixed an error in troop amount trigger causing horse archers to get elephant tactics. Added missing localization for jungle terrain combat effect tooltip. Indian temple corruption and local death cults are now immediately removed if the province owner is of a non-Indian religion. So these were other major problems in the current release, was that if you took over territory that had these religious event modifiers, they would never ever go away. And now they will. So again, most of the stuff would have been fixed with the smallest amount of beta testing, but whatever. I guess that's what we're for. The paying public. Fixed a bug where sometimes fixed a bug which sometimes prevented the player from building some holdings. Updated so all light cavalry-based tactics affect camel cavalry as well. Fixed invalid patrician trade post cost calculation. Nestorians can now only appoint landed bishops as autocephalous patriarchs. Alright. Fix it so that technology gives bonuses to some special troops. Improved the logic of bribing people into plots. Now I'm hoping, I haven't experimented with this yet, but I'm hoping that this means that if, say, a character already has 100 opinion of you, but the extra bribe money would put them so high that they would join. It's in the previous versions of the game, it would show the little icon saying that yes, you can bribe them, but bribing them wouldn't actually do anything because they were already opinion capped. So hopefully this means that it will not do that anymore. I'm really hoping that that's what that means. Adapted pilgrim events to include Massalian and Paulician heresies. Fixed a bug where the usurp button for kingdoms usurped vassals as well. The AI will now only ask vassals or below to straighten up. No longer possible for the AI to plot to assassinate self, unless they're a lunatic. That's fantastic. So you're saying in the public vanilla, like, actual game, 2.1, the AI was plotting to assassinate itself. That's wonderful. Cool. The AI can now start claimant factions again. That's significant. The Holy Warrior now has a better effect description. Fixed a case where Righteous Imprisonment alert was shown, even though imprisonment wasn't available. Piety name has been fixed in multiple locations. Cursor offsets for Character Finder. Not exactly sure what that means. Autosave to Cloud no longer opens the main menu upon completion. So for those of you who are playing with the Cloud enabled and you were trying to play as Iron Man, every month it would pop up that little, if you were to press escape, it would bring up the game menu. So that's gone, that's fixed now. Fixed Find Province window has been updated. Interesting. I want to see what that looks like. Character selection could show a wrong coat of arms for lowborn. Ransom button in Intrigue View is disabled when the employer can't or won't ransom the person. Again, paradox, you don't seem to always understand what we care about. This is a huge, huge quality of life change. So now, even if they are... the only time that little like the ransom button in the Intrigue menu is actually clickable is if they have the money for it and the person's willing to do it. So you're no longer just cycling through every single prisoner every couple of years. Now you can just quickly at a glance see who you can ransom. It's very, very significant. It's huge. Okay. Character selection could show, yep, piety name was fixed in the execute interaction. Clients no longer show waiting for server ID. Fixed invalid text shown for special troops and commander traits. Fixed the moral authority tooltip for Indian religions. Fixed upside down coat of arms on map for versions using OpenGL. Added missing top bar extension for Indian republics. Added missing jungle terrain picture. The vassal tab shows partitions as partitions. And fixed player.religion.getPiety name localization issue. And for modding, renamed cost to ruler designer cost for trait age costs. Ruler designer cost now forces the cost instead of applying an offset. This is really, really good. In the past, if you, let's say you wanted to modify the cost of a trait, then you'd have to first figure out what the actual cost is and then apply a variable to it. Like, so I say genius costs 30 age. If you wanted to make genius cost 10, then you'd have to apply a modifier of -20 instead of just saying 10. So every single trait you had to know both the before cost, what you wanted the cost to be, and then you had to manually calculate what the middle cost would be to change it, and now you just say what you want the cost to be. So if you're not a modder, this means nothing to you, but it's really, really good. And added a check for character holding titles before they were born. Error log now alerts any duplicate landed titles. Fixed a bug with the event filter only independent. And made a number of changes to starting characters and dynasties, above all in northern India. And the ruler of Aegon in 987 is now shows as the bishop he is. This is another one of those really, really interesting grammar ones. The ruler of Aegon in 987 is now shows as the bishop he is. Yes. That seems like a great place to wrap things up. So this was the complete patch notes. I did not filter it beforehand. That's why it took just a little bit longer than normal. Hopefully this patch will treat you well. If you are using my keyboard shortcuts mod, then do use the link that's in the description down below. It has been updated. The previous version will not work. You will have problems. You need to update your mod. So thank you so much for watching, everyone. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. See you soon.